Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Anna and I am the owner and creator here at All Things All Happy. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I make resin dominoes. We're going to be using glitter, resin, and silicone molds. So join me as we get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is set the area on where I'm going to put the domino molds. I have this heat mat that I just turned on and actually have it set to 74 degrees. I got this on Amazon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cover it with a silicone mat. And I am going to, first step, is add some baby powder to my molds. I find that baby powder prevents the little holes. So when your epoxy is done curing and you take them out of the mold, you'll see that you'll have like, I guess it was like a little pocket of an air bubble, and it dried. And so when you take the domino out, the top of it has this little indent of where there was a bubble. So I find that if I baby powder the inside of my molds, it prevents those little bubbles. So I'm just going to do this on all of them. I actually have 2 molds and I'm going to do them on both molds. You don't need a lot and you don't want all this excess sitting in it. So I am going to tap them out once I'm done. Okay, once you're done, you could just tap out all the excess baby powder out of the molds. I'm going to do this into a trash can. Okay, I have tapped out the excess. Just gonna go over one more time just to get out any other remnants of the powder. Once I have the molds looking the way I want them to, I'm going to measure and ensure that they are even. Because when I'm pouring liquid into the mold, it will go towards the direction in which the mold is stationed. And then I'll just use like little popsicle sticks. Okay, once I have the molds even and ready to go, I'm going to begin mixing my epoxy. So I'm going to do 90 of part A and 90 of part B. And I'm using the Amazing Clear Cast Plus from Illuminate. What we're going to do is we're going to begin stirring it up. And I did pre-measure my molds, so I know that each domino is 7.5 milliliters. I did post a video a while back showing you how to figure out how much resin you actually need for your molds. You can do it for any type of mold. You can use that little trick. I did it using the domino tray, so I know that each little square holds 7.5 milliliters. And that is how I based my resin on. So once I have my epoxy ready to go, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of the clear at the bottom for each square. Just want it to coat the bottom. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm not using a fine or extra fine glitter. I'm actually using a little bit of a chunky glitter. And I find that when you use a chunky glitter, sometimes depending on how the glitter falls, it will stick up at the bottom. So since I can't see the bottom, I'm going to put the clear as a base coat so that when I pour the glitter on top of it, it won't touch the bottom of the domino mold. I hope that makes sense to you. Once that's done, I'm just going to use a popsicle stick and I'm just going to move it around and make sure that it is filling the entire domino square. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this to both molds. All right, so once that's done, take my glitter and I'm going to add it to my epoxy. I'm just going to go ahead and stir it up. Once that is all stirred up, I'm just going to go ahead and just begin pouring it in. And I'm going to do that to every domino on the 2 trays, okay? All right, now I'm gonna go back and overfill the other ones. All right, once you're done filling your molds with the epoxy, you will begin to see this little white foam here on top. These are actually micro bubbles. They're really small bubbles coming to the surface, which is what you want. So we're just going to get some alcohol and we're just going to spray it. And as we spray, the bubbles will pop. And as it begins to sit, if there's more bubbles, they too will rise to the surface. And in about like 4 minutes, you can come back and take a look. And if you see more whites, like see here, a little cloud forming again, you can just add a little bit more and they will disappear. And that's it. We're just gonna let this sit and dry. All right, our dominoes are done. I'm just gonna take them out. They actually look really good. So these are what our dominoes look like. They actually came out really good. There is no air bubble, air pockets, none of them. See how nice and smooth they are? Came out perfect. So what I have here is a deburring tool. I got this on Amazon. And I have to say that when I was first starting out with making the molds and doing the keychains, I could not for the life of me figure out how you clean these off nicely. Some of the crafters were using like a sanding block, but it made it like dull, and I did not like that at all. So I came across this tool. It's called the Deburring Tool, and you kind of just hold it right against the corner, and it totally just takes it right off. And it's like perfect. Let me see if I can show it to you. So here, you see here, I'm just going to take it, and I'm just going to take that right off, and it's like nice and smooth. It doesn't look dull, nothing. So I'm not sure why nobody's used it, or if they have, they just don't want to share it. I'm not really sure, but I thought it was pretty cool, and I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to clean all of these off. And I will link this in the section below where you can find it, or what it's called on Amazon. But it just makes it so nice and smooth. And you can do the corners. It's just a perfect tool. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just finish these up. I poured the epoxy about 2 days ago, and I kind of left it there. I didn't have an opportunity to complete this. But I do know that the longer it sits, the harder it is to take these edges off. It just gets really, really like solid plastic hard. So you definitely want to demold it when it, you know, when the resin says the work time of the resin of the cure time. The cure time for this was 24 hours. So I kind of let it sit for 48 hours. And it's still easy for me to peel off the edges. But the longer it sits, the harder it is. And you could do from any side. You could do it from this side, or you can do it from this side. It doesn't matter. I actually bought this tool for my son because he makes 3D images. He's got one of those 3D printers. And I had read that this was a good tool to use. And then when I bought it and I saw it, I said, I wonder if this would work on the epoxy molds, like when you demold something and you kind of have a little bit of excess epoxy over the edges. And it worked like a charm. All right, this is the last one. This one has a lot of excess epoxy. So as you can see, it's a little bit more difficult to take off, but it does come off. All right, so these are the dominoes. I just finished cleaning them up. I just want to show you up close how there are no air pockets, no bubbles in any of them. It's pretty cool. I have this on. And then this is the back side of them. All right, now that I've cleaned all around the dominoes, I'm going to color the little circles. And I purchased these dual tip acrylic paint pens from Amazon, and they are awesome. And they're dual tip. There's a fine and then there's a medium. And I'm gonna use the medium, and I'm just gonna pop them right into the holes, just like that. I'm just gonna do all of them. And then you can use the other side, the fine side, and you can just make the line right down the center. If you do get any excess on top, you can just rub it right off. And then you can also take the fine side. As you can see, the medium kind of left it a little empty in there. You can take the fine and just color it in. Just want to be careful when you're pressing down because you don't want to have the pen overflow, because then it'll just be a lot of the paint coming out. I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to finish up the rest of them. I definitely have to alternate between the fine and the medium, because sometimes the medium are making like perfect little circles in here, like coloring, and other times it doesn't. And then when you prime it, just a little too much paint comes out. So just kind of play around with it. You could also use one of those like nail dotting tools. You can use that. You could dip that into acrylic paint and then dip it directly into the circle, the little dots in the dominoes. All right, once I'm done dotting all these circles, I'm just gonna let this dry because it is acrylic paint and we want it to fully dry. All right, I finished coloring in all the dots and the lines. I wanna say they came out really good. Really happy with the way they turned out. I do wanna mention that if I didn't, or if you choose not to use glitter inside the resin and you use a acrylic paint or a mica powder, instead of using paint to fill in the circles, you can actually use rhinestones. So if I were to put rhinestones in here, because of the glitter, you really wouldn't see it. You would definitely feel it, but you wouldn't see it. But if you use mica powder or an acrylic paint inside the resin, you definitely can use rhinestones to fill in the little holes. So that would be another cute little effect. But these came out really good. If you guys have any questions or comments, just link them in the comment section below. And I would love to know your thoughts too on that burring tool. Let me know if you have one of these or if you tried it. And that's it. See you guys soon.
I don't know if there's anything else I can get you.
Thanks.
Miss Anna.
Thanks.
Thanks. Today?
Shut up. My God.
You start the video.
Domino molds and join me as we get this. Oh my God.
Your horse.
Some silicone molds. Why do I? So grab your trays. So we're going to be using silicone molds. Pause. And today's how I make resin